The Department of Correctional Services has moved some inmates from Brandvlei Prison outside Worcester in the Boland to neighbouring facilities after a fire engulfed sections of the facility. Correctional Services Minister Richard Mamabolo says all the inmates are accounted for, but there's concern about smoke inhalation. He says a section of the prison was hit by flames and no injuries were reported. Fires have been raging across large parts of Boland in recent days, destroying amounts of vegetation and some informal structures. The fire has since been contained. All right, now let's get reaction. We're joined via Teams by the Police and Prison Civil Rights Union spokesperson, Richard Mamabolo. Richard, good afternoon and thank you very much for joining us.
You and the viewers.
No, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Now, Richard, this is not the first fire incident at a correctional facility. Firstly, your reaction as POP crew on the Brandvlei fire.
Yes, look, I think this fire is part of the Kipland's fires that have been raging the entire area for some weeks now. And we are quite happy that there was some swift action to ensure that it does not destroy more infrastructure. In fact, what we have had now since our leadership is there in the area is that the fire has been contained, of course, and of course nobody has been harmed, both inmates and of course our colleagues within the Department of Correctional Services. So that is one thing that we are quite happy about. And of course, there are ongoing discussions about what then happens to the relocation plan, because what it effectively means is that if inmates are to be reallocated to other facilities, we already have a challenge of overcrowding across most of our facilities. It then means that there would be more overcrowding in other facilities, but as well the fact that a part of the prison, which was the agricultural sector where they would store agricultural products, has been destroyed. It's actually a setback for us, because part of the programs that we've been engaging with the department about is to ensure that our correctional centers become self-sustainable. Now, part of the agricultural producing part would obviously have been some contribution which is made by inmates, and it being destroyed then means that there will obviously be a negative impact in that regard. But generally, we're quite happy that no life has been lost.
Most certainly. And then, since you say one of your leadership or deployees has been there, do you know what is the status of those that are said to have inhaled smoke?
What we have been told by the provincial secretary in the Western Cape has been that there are meetings currently ensuing at the moment. And of course, obviously the department is there to ensure that measures are taken to ensure that the health hazards are averted. Members, of course, have been obviously checked as to whether they've had that inhalation or not, inclusive of inmates. But so far, the reports that we get is that everybody is fine.
The Justice and Correctional Services Minister also stated that all inmates and officials at the prison are safe and accounted for. Have you been able to verify on your part? Because we all remember all too well what happened with Thabo Bester.
No, definitely. That has been verified. Like I said, we've got our provincial leadership who are currently at the Brandvlei Correctional Center, and they have confirmed such reports that everybody has been accounted for.
And then the extent of the damage, do you perhaps have details on hand around that extent?
We do not have specific details, but for sure we know that the agricultural storage facility has been destroyed, and that is obviously a worrying factor. I think for us, one of the other concerns, of course, is the fact that if you are then taking these inmates to different other facilities, it would obviously add on to the already challenge that the department is facing of overcrowding. But in the long run, I think there have been commitments by both the minister and, of course, the national commissioner to ensure that we deal with such challenges in the long run. So this is not a short-term thing that can be dealt with in the immediate.
Mr. Mamabolo, a pleasure speaking to you this afternoon. That's Richard Mamabolo. He speaks for POP Crew.